Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Draw with T. Today we are back on the computer, and I am inking my Krampus card. So this is, of course, one of 4 cards. One is already done. 2 more have to be inked after this one. And then, those will each have their own episodes, and then in later episodes you'll actually see me do color studies and then the final card, so stay tuned for that. I believe this is the first time you guys are seeing me ink in Photoshop, so let's give a little bit of tech information here, although I don't know if it really matters, but in case anybody's wondering, I use a Wacom. I believe it's Intuos 5, so a little bit on the older side now. It was amazing when I got it. It replaced Intuos 3, which is not very good. But I'm starting to realize now that I might have to replace my Intuos with maybe like a Cintiq or an iPad Pro, especially if I'm going to be doing a lot of videos like this, because it's a little bit disorientating to see me zoom in and rotate. And I also now know from watching other people with Cintiqs and stuff draw that they don't have to do this mad rotation, constantly hitting Control-Z, backspace, to delete the line and try it again. That seems to be a thing of the past that only Wacom, Intuos users seem to suffer from, and I'm amazed that technology has gotten that far. I've been living quite frugally, paying off my student loans, but those are paid off now, so slowly as the money comes in, I'm now replacing my technology, because it's out of date. It's the newest stuff is like 5 years old, and I mean, my computer is pretty swanky. It's still a good one, but it lags with Photoshop and everything, so gonna have to look into how to fix that. But yeah, now I'm starting to ramble on. But yeah, so if you're unfamiliar with like that old style of tablet, if you're lucky enough to have just started digital art with an iPad or a Cintiq or a Huron or whatever, I know there's a lot of brands. If this looks a little peculiar to you, that's why I'm using a tablet, and I can't see. There's no screen on the tablet, so I have to just go by feel, and rotating the tablet doesn't work, so I have to rotate the canvas, which I got pretty good at. But now that I'm looking at the footage, I realize that could be better. This could be a struggle that goes away, and I did this pretty fast, but I could do it even faster, which I am all for. If you guys use a tablet, leave a comment, because I think we're a dying breed. Well, by tablet, I mean like an Intuos or something like that. I guess tablet now is getting taken over by like the iPads and stuff, isn't it? So yeah, I'm basically just inking away. I have my favorite, my one and only ink brush that I have used since my college days. It's a Kyle, is it Weber or Webster brush? I'm sure a lot of you have heard of him. If you haven't, he's basically become a well-known Photoshop brush maker. I think even now he's really hit it big, so I wouldn't be surprised if everybody's heard of him. But the brush I'm using, I believe, is called Pocket Brush number 1, and it comes with his Mega Pack series, which is a good series to get if you're looking for a lot of good Photoshop brushes, just something that, looking for a pack that covers everything, watercolor, pastel, even some funky brushes, oil paints, pencils, ink brushes, all of that. I highly recommend that pack. You buy it once, and then he keeps updating it, and you get the updates for free. Which reminds me, I actually should go in and update mine, because it's been a long time since I updated it. So yeah, love the brush. It's I loved it so much that it actually it was one of the reasons I actually went out and bought a actual Pentel pocket brush, and it's a good brush, but I kind of do most of my inking digitally for various reasons. But I might do some more traditional inking, just to keep good. I just like to try different things. It's just it's good for you as an artist. You know, sometimes you'll learn something from another medium you can take back to the medium you mainly work in. It's always good to experiment. And after all, digital inking is an extension of traditional inking, so I might find some technique that I can't do digitally, or you know, that I can replicate digitally, but through other means. So yeah. So when I ink, usually my drawings are quite tight already, so it's just a matter of outlining. And it is a bit frustrating to ink sometimes because having to rotate the screen, there's certain angles I just can't reach. You saw with the tongue there, I had to erase it a few times, and you're watching me erase these horns a few times just because long, sweeping, curved angles, specifically curves that change their trajectory partway through, those are very hard. And this is a bit rare what I'm doing here. I'm actually, I sketched in ink to fix up the horn here, and that was just because the horns, I hadn't drawn them very well. And I knew that when I drew them, but I just thought, I don't know. Perhaps you guys run into this if you're artists, where you draw something, you're like, this isn't going to work, but I'll just leave it for later me to fix. And then later you know, does not understand what previous you was thinking, but it happens. I prefer to solve my problems in the present so that future me can enjoy, you know, a quicker inking process. But, you know, sometimes there's time restraints. Sometimes you just don't think it'll be as much of a problem, or you know, various stuff. I mean, you know, we're all human, right? But I am glad I went back in and fixed these horns, and all I'm doing is I just made a new layer, and without changing my brush, I just made it smaller and just sketched it in so that I could just go back to my ink layer and ink it. If you're familiar with Photoshop, I typically use 1 to 2 layers when I ink. Sometimes I'll use 3. And there is a certain style of inking where I'll actually give every object kind of its own layer. For example, if I was doing that with this, I might make all of his hair one layer, and then his eyes another layer, his teeth another layer. And that would be if I planned on coloring the ink lines, and I wanted to save myself some time going forward, so I could just lock the layer and, you know, go through however many renditions of applying color until I found the color I wanted, without having to, you know, go in and manually color in the lines again. If you're not familiar with Photoshop, I do apologize, because what I probably said probably made no sense at all. I'm not sure if it's worth me explaining the basics of layers and stuff at this point. Let me know if you guys want like a 101 kind of just on Photoshop and Photoshop terminology in terms of drawing and stuff. I think a lot of people kind of know it by now, or a version of it, you know, like layers, brushes, because I think that's translating into other art programs, onto the iPad, onto other tablets and stuff. That sort of technology is really taken off, and it's even more ubiquitous now than back when I was starting off as a digital artist. And oh boy, back then it was a big thing already. I mean, but you know, back then you had to have a scanner, you had to have bought Photoshop for like $1,000 or something, you had to have the tablet, and that was it. You had to do it on a desktop, or you know, if you were really rich, you'd have a swanky laptop, which wasn't as powerful. But then, you know, then Cintiqs came out, and boy, were those expensive. Now tablets have come out, and now you have options. Now people are turning away from Photoshop to, what is it, Procreate? I'm sure there's several applications there. So yeah, you know, stuff's changing. It's amazing. I love it. Anyway, sorry, I kind of went on a weird little tangent there. Let's talk about this sort of what I'm doing. So this is obviously the front cover of the card. This is going to be a folded 5x7 card, and I like to put art on all sides of the cards that I make. And right now, I think I sell them relatively cheap. Despite that, I know a lot of people sell like $6 cards, Canadian $6. And all it is like, it's a very simple, lovely drawing on the front, but then the back is blank other than a bit of information. And then the inside, often the inside is blank, but there might be a very simple little phrase on the right side. Nothing fancy, no fancy text or anything. Not like what I've written here. That was a handwritten type that I did. But me, I'm an artist. I went to art college, and they beat into us that if you're gonna do art, you better do it, and you better do it good. Like, you better go that extra level. You better be that person that goes 120%, right? So, I took that to heart, and also I just can't resist going to that level, that degree. So what I'm working on now is the back of the card. I'm putting on a tiny little Krampus doodle, and I had realized that I hadn't given him glasses, and at the time I thought, it doesn't really matter. It's the back of the card, and people are allowed to take their glasses off, but I had quite liked the sunglasses that I'd given the Krampus. And he just kind of developed as a character. I'm like, you know what? No, I'll take some time and I'll sketch in some sunglasses and then ink over top. So now I'm just inking it. This one was quite fast and easy to ink, other than the glasses, which are one of those things that are really hard to ink. Inking without really seeing what you're inking is hard. Which I guess is another thing that's gonna die off here, because you don't have to learn how to draw without looking at what you're drawing, which is what you have to do with an Intuos, with the Cintiq and stuff. Now you see what you draw, which is amazing. Hopefully I'll be able to get one here. Eventually, I'll have to look at what they go for. Maybe they're a lot cheaper now, or maybe I could go with an iPad. Oh, and I'm talking about tech again. I do apologize. So here I am, just, inking away. This one actually went pretty fast. Most of the lines were in that range that was quite easy for me. Just having fun. I really enjoyed working on this drawing. It was simple enough that I didn't really have to do much or add much every time I came back to it, whether it was cleaning up the sketch, which was not much work at all, or inking it like I'm doing here, or later on when I do the color studies and stuff. It was always just gave me no problems. It was just an awesome looking little image that I just came back and worked on, and I love when art's like that. Every now and then I'm doing something and it's just it gives me heck at every stage, and then sometimes I just do things that just show up. It's their turn to get inked, and then I work on them, finish them, and they look great. And that's what this one is. And I hope people appreciate that if they buy the card. I'm hoping people buy this card. We'll see. I guess when this video goes out, it'll be like probably midway through December. So chances are you can actually buy cards from me if you want. Probably talk about that a little bit more in a separate video. In fact, that separate video may have gone out already. I do apologize. I do shoot these videos in advance, and with Christmas and these cards and other obligations, I am doing some extreme big batch videos here. So I don't quite know what the future will bring. Hopefully much Christmas cheer and people buying my cards. That would be awesome. I do like that, and I'm gonna be getting a lot of cards this year. And I love making cards, and I love when people smile and light up when they see art and cards and stuff. I just love it. I don't know. Art just makes people happy, and I love seeing that. I really like putting a smile on people's faces. But despite what I said about the other drawing, I think this is my favorite Krampus drawing of the 3 drawings featured here. I don't know what it is. The moment I drew this little image, I basically knew what the character was going to be, and I just did not explore anything else. And here I'm just fixing the horn because the other horn wasn't quite drawn symmetrically. This is where I love Photoshop. I can just grab something I did or grab something else and flip it. Delete this, move this, shift this, bam, and instead of redrawing something with tracing paper or whatever, I can just seamlessly fix something, and nobody's really the wiser except you guys are because you've seen it, but it doesn't really matter. Artists make mistakes all the time. And yeah, just love this little doodle, this little rocker Krampus guy. Yeah, and oh, here's a good tip for you coming up. So instead of redrawing the hand on the Krampus's left hand, I just grabbed this, flipped it, and dragged it over, and it actually worked well this time. Sometimes it doesn't always work, but in this case, it saved me a lot of time, and that's, not cheating. I drew it once. If it looked too copy and pasted in another situation, I would probably alter it a little bit, but it's a lot faster to do that than, fix the sketch of the hand and then, ink it, and then, I probably saved myself a good 15 minutes there, which is what you do when you're, working on 4 or more Christmas cards and a lot of other stuff on your plate. Yeah, you saw that I experimented with a longer tongue there, but I just really like this shorter, rounder tongue. I know it's not quite in style with the other doodles of him, but whatever. He's the Krampus. His tongue can be whatever length that he wants it to be, I'm sure, at least, maybe in this world. It's art, Art's just kind of flexible like that. And here I'm just basically finishing up by putting on the details of his jacket, which I kind of established in the first drawing I did. So, just having fun with that, deciding, what goes here, what goes there. That's kind of it. At the end of this episode, guys, I am going to show you some still images of the art of this, so let me know if you like that. I'm going to assume you like that, because I think the other episodes ended a bit abruptly, but yeah, we're basically done with this episode, guys, so let me know what you think. Tell me if you would buy a Krampus card, or if you did, or if you want to. Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, guys, and I will see you in the next episode. And here are these stills, so let me know what you think. How clean are my lines? Have a good day.